During the halftime break of the basketball game, I was about to go get some water when Roman beside me put his arm around my neck. "Look over there." I followed his gaze and saw Sophia standing hesitantly at the edge of the court, holding a bottle of water. Roman said with a big smile, "Your goddess has come to bring you water." Sophia is an Omega and also the beauty of our department. I've been in love with Sophia since my freshman year, and the whole school knows about it. Although I haven't gone through my secondary gender differentiation yet, the genetic test results show that there's a 99% chance I'll turn into an alpha. As for the 1% chance of becoming an Omega, I've long ignored it. I was about to walk towards Sophia when I saw her take a deep breath, as if she'd steeled herself, and then she walked towards me with a determined look in her eyes. Oh, how could I let the goddess come all the way to bring me water? I could have gone to get it myself, just when I thought my spring had finally arrived. Sophia changed her direction when she was less than 3 meters away from me, and walked straight up to Benjamin. "Benjamin, you played really well. This is the water I bought for you." The bustling playground fell silent in an instant, and everyone was staring at Benjamin and Sophia. Benjamin is the school hunk and very popular. He's been swamped with love letters since he enrolled. Moreover, he always ranks first in his studies and is the dream guy of countless Omegas. He has been ranked first on the most desirable alpha to sleep with list for 3 consecutive years. Benjamin stopped mid-sip, his brow furrowing slightly. It's been a long time since anyone dared to offer him water, whether it's the gentle and petite Omegas, the kind-hearted betas, or even the alphas with a penchant for AA relationships. He's flatly rejected them all, without exception. Sophia dared to offer water even though she knew it was impossible. It seems that it must be true love. But she is my goddess. Benjamin and I grew up together. He is my neighbor and also my classmate. From childhood to adulthood, he has always been the first in the grade, while I am the forgotten second. He differentiated into an alpha in high school, while I still haven't differentiated until now. I can only live on the false hopes drawn by the genetic test every day. I've lived in his shadow for the first half of my life, which makes me really annoyed with him. This guy is only passable in terms of looks. His temper is just terribly bad. Are those Omegas who send love letters to him blind? Just like now. Sophia's hand holding the water remains in midair. People around have started whispering and constantly glancing back and forth among me. Sophia and Benjamin. Their looks are like they are watching a free evening slot triangular tragic love drama without having to open a membership. "Brother, don't go. Don't go." Roman held me tightly, afraid that I would rush up and beat Benjamin in a fit of anger. Benjamin cast a casual glance at me and curled his lips into a mocking smile. In front of hundreds of eyes on the school field, he took the water from Sophia. The air seemed to freeze. Not a single breath could be heard, except for Roman's loud cry echoing through the crowd. "Brother, please don't." Of course, I'm not Benjamin. How could a gentleman like me fight? So for the second basketball game, I played with intense focus and energy. There is only one reason. My opponent is Benjamin. He snatched the first place in the grade from me, took away my position as the campus heartthrob, and now he even wants to pursue my goddess. This guy is really going too far. The entire second half of the game was completely a one-on-one match between me and Benjamin. The other players all stayed far away, afraid of accidentally drawing my bad luck. There were only 10 seconds left on the clock, and the score was 8-9. I had 8 points, and he had 9. I had just grabbed the ball, ready for a 3-step layup. If I made this shot, I'd finally get my revenge. Benjamin didn't stop me, but as I jumped, I suddenly caught a strong scent of sandalwood. I don't know if there was something strange mixed in it. After smelling it, my waist went weak, and the ball instantly fell to the ground. The next moment, the game time ended. The whistle sounded like a warning, and my mind instantly started racing with urgent commands. Before I could regain control of my thoughts, Roman's cry rang out in my ears. "Brother, stop. You'll hurt someone if you keep going." That's when I realized my hands were tightly gripping Benjamin's collar, and my fist was raised right in front of his face. There was already blood at the corner of his mouth from my punches. In the hospital, I held all the test reports and let out a long breath once I confirmed everything was fine. Sorry. Benjamin had a bandage on his lip, still as grumpy as ever. I forced myself to hold back the urge to go at him again. I shouldn't have hit you. That fight was a one-sided beating from me, from start to finish. Benjamin didn't even fight back. I thought he was trying to take advantage of me, but it turned out he wasn't. Seems like he's not entirely without conscience after all. Why didn't you fight back? Benjamin gave me a look like I was the one being ridiculous, leaving it for me to figure out on my own. Just as I was about to continue asking, I smelled that sandalwood fragrance again. The smell was light and fragrant, not as strong as before, as if it was gently floating around me. Obviously, it was coming from Benjamin. This really gets me annoyed. If it weren't for this fragrance that made me perform poorly, I would have won on the court already. Why do you, a male alpha, wear perfume? Are you in heat? Perfume. What kind of smell is it? I took a sniff and then pretended to vomit. It smells like the sandalwood in temples. It stinks. No wonder someone like you who likes to show off would wear it. Benjamin's expression tightened. When was the last time you had a differentiation check? I was a bit confused. What's wrong? I had it done half a year ago. The doctor said there's a % chance that I'm an ALP. You'll see. Once I finish my differentiation, I'm definitely going to knock you down. Benjamin ignored my challenge and without a word pulled me straight to the differentiation clinic. After all the tests were done, we sat on chairs waiting for the results. Is there something wrong with my differentiation? Benjamin said, we'll know when the results come out. Fine, say whatever you want. Who even cares what you think? I rolled my eyes and then remembered today's incident on the basketball court. Why did you take water from Sophia? Aren't you asexual? Since Benjamin had never dated anyone, everyone at school assumed he was asexual. Guessing it was about time, Benjamin stood up to print the report for me as he walked away saying, who told you I'm asexual? I have special preferences. I like relationships between people of the same type. I stared wide-eyed, shocked that Benjamin had just shared such a big secret with me. If anyone at school found out about this, it would cause a total uproar. What was that saying again? The whole class would have exploded, and so would the entire school. Just as I started to wonder if Benjamin would do something to keep me quiet, the machine began to print the report. Benjamin took out the report and his eyes fell on the test results. After a moment, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Wrong. I'm into alpha-omega romances. I didn't come to my senses until I got back to the dorm about what was written on the test report. The omega hormone level is above the normal range. The patient is currently in the differentiation phase. It is expected that the differentiation will be completed in a week, and the differentiation orientation is % omega. I'm a person who is 183 centimeters tall and can beat up an alpha with one hand. How could I possibly differentiate into an omega? Is it still possible to file a complaint against the company that did my genetic test? This is outright deceptive. How could they cause so much harm? The world feels like it's crashing down. It's a shared dorm room, and Benjamin is my roommate. As I slumped in the chair, sighing over my unfair fate, Benjamin was staring at me with that faint, unreadable expression. I don't know why, but I've sensed that his mood has been unusually good ever since the hospital results came out. He propped up his chin and asked, "Do you still have feelings for Sophia? What does that mean?" "A provocation. It's simply a blatant provocation." "What's it to you?" I said, impatiently. "Nothing much. Just trying to cheer you up," Benjamin said, spreading his hands with a look of innocence. "After all, the two of you will only be able to be close friends from now on. That guy's getting more and more annoying." Just as we were talking, the sandalwood scent in the dorm grew stronger, making my face feel hot and my body warm, especially the back of my neck. Felt itchy, as if it wanted to be bitten. I was startled by my own thoughts. glaring at Benjamin. Can you stop spraying that perfume? If you're nearing your sensitive phase, go find an omega. Benjamin's face darkened as he slowly walked up to me. The dorm room was just ours. As he approached, the space felt tighter, and the scent of sandalwood from him seemed to fill the air around me. I gradually found it a bit difficult to breathe. My nape itched even more, and it seemed damp beneath me. Benjamin said hoarsely, "When have you ever seen me wear perfume? So, what is this smell?" I seemed to have an answer in mind, but I wasn't sure. If it really was, then it would be too absurd. Benjamin curled his lips and mercilessly shattered my last bit of fantasy, saying, "It's my pheromones." He continued, "I remember you got a full score in the Omega Physiology class." Benjamin was right. This was also the only subject in which I tied with him. But I studied this subject hard back then, mainly because I wanted to find a sweet and lovely omega. I never thought these knowledge would eventually be applied to myself. The book says that if an omega can smell an alpha's pheromones before their differentiation is complete, there's only one reason: their pheromone compatibility is. This also means that an alpha has complete control over an omega. An alpha only needs to deliberately release some pheromones to make a fully differentiated omega enter a certain state. "Samuel, do you want to go to the hot springs this weekend? It's a message from Sophia." "Sure." The report says the differentiation is expected to happen in a week, so it's still safe this weekend. This is probably the last time I'll approach Sophia as an alpha. After all, we'll be sisters in the future. Sorry, my dearest sweet omega. I'm leaving now, and this departure will be forever. Just when I was feeling sad alone, Benjamin, who was sitting beside me, suddenly stood up. The chair legs rubbed violently against the tiles, making a very harsh noise. I covered my ears and looked up in confusion. I saw Benjamin with a gloomy face throw the examination report on my desk, full of anger, and said, "I forgot to give this to you just now. This guy is really strange. Who made him angry this time? He's angry, but why take it out on me? It wasn't me who did it. I really can't stand living in this dorm anymore. My roommate has such a bad temper." I cleared my throat and said, "I'll go to the counselor to apply for a dorm change in a few days." Benjamin's face turned even worse. He gave me a cold look. "Why switch dorms? Where would you go? Are you thinking of moving to Sophia's place?" I was taken aback by those 3 quick questions. Benjamin continued, "Sophia's dorm is already full. What the hell? What's the situation of moving to Sophia's dormitory? And how does Benjamin know their dormitory is full?" The chill in the air grew heavier, and I quickly replied, "It must be moving to the Omega dormitory. Once my transition is complete, it wouldn't be right for the 2 of us to share a room." Benjamin's tone softened slightly. "Do you really want everyone to know about your transition?" He seems to have a point. I struggled for a long time and still decided to stay here. "Then you have to promise not to do anything strange to me." Benjamin smiled. "I swear, I'm the one who's lying if I ever hurt your trust." On the bus to the hot spring on the weekend, I kept my eyes closed, pretending I was already gone. Who can tell me why Benjamin is also here? I was still unsure, but I decided to stay. We ended up meeting again downstairs. Sophia arrived with her close friend who is an omega. She looked at me in surprise and said, "You didn't know Benjamin was going too?" "I told him to let you know." My heart sank a little. Benjamin, such a familiar name just days ago. I heard him called out on the field, and now things have moved so fast. I clenched my fists, glancing at the still tender mark on Benjamin's lip and the meager balance in my wallet, making a silent promise to settle this later. We arrived at the hotel shortly after and checked in for 2 rooms. Benjamin and I shared one room, and Sophia and her girlfriends shared the other. After soaking in the hot springs, it was only around 10 o'clock at night, and Sophia suggested playing Truth or Dare. Benjamin had terrible luck tonight, losing several rounds in a row. Sophia asked with a bright smile, "Do you have someone you're interested in?" Benjamin replied calmly, "Yes." "Oh right, what's the point of this question? Isn't the person he likes Sophia?" Someone once said that he was into same-sex relationships. He was just kidding me. I even thought he was cool for a second at that time. Sophia continued asking, "Is the person you like at our table?" Benjamin took a sip of his drink, the liquid leaving a faint trace on his lips, glowing slightly under the red light with an almost captivating allure. It was as if he had finally spotted prey, calmly and patiently guiding it step by step into his trap. He finally showed a small expression. "Yes. Oh, so sweet, so sweet." Sophia and her friend cried out with excitement, but I was still caught in that moment just before. As I was lost in thought, the scent of sandalwood, quietly lingering for days, suddenly surged into my nose. My drink spilled from my hand. I looked up in alarm. What was Benjamin doing releasing so much of his natural scent? But Sophia and the others, already fully developed omegas, showed no reaction at all. It wasn't Benjamin releasing scent. It was my body that had become sensitive to his again. Even the tiniest trace in the air could be detected and magnified by me. Thud! My strength vanished, nearly falling off my seat. Thankfully, Benjamin caught me in time. "What's wrong?" His eyes were filled with genuine concern. I shook my head, beads of sweat forming at my temple. "I'd like to go back to my room." "I'll take you," he said, not waiting for my response before gently guiding me away. "Samuel's not feeling well. I'll get him back first." I regretted letting Benjamin take me back now. The closer I got to him, the stronger the sandalwood smell became. The skin on my body started to turn pink, and the gland at the back of my neck didn't just itch. It throbbed painfully. Halfway there, my body went so weak that I had to lean tightly against Benjamin. "This isn't right. This is not the symptom of the differentiation period at all, but the heat period. That means I entered the heat period while differentiating into an omega. I'm feeling so uncomfortable." I gritted my teeth. It felt like there were countless bugs biting my skin, and I instinctively wanted to scratch it. But Benjamin suddenly grabbed my hand. I muttered, "It's so itchy. Let go of me." Benjamin said, "Just hold on a little longer." But suddenly, his expression turned grim. Ding dong. The elevator reached our floor, and Benjamin immediately pressed the close button. The doors didn't open. I mustered what little strength I had and gently pushed against Benjamin. My face flushed as I asked, "Why aren't we getting off?" At this time, Benjamin suddenly gently stroked my face and said with a somewhat pitying tone, "You know, this floor is exclusively for alphas. Right now, there are over 20 people living in these rooms, and every single one of them is an alpha." My head was heavy and I was a bit confused. Why was he telling me all this? Benjamin continued, "I thought you wouldn't go through the change for another week." "I'm sorry, baby. That was my biggest mistake." In an instant, he gently pried open my tightly clenched teeth, his voice rough and low. "Baby, the elevator is now filled with your scent. If we open the elevator and the pheromones spread out, they would tear you apart. Omega pheromones are a powerful lure for alphas, especially when they're at high levels during heat. The elevator only opens with access cards, and we can't go to any other floors except the first one. As long as an omega in heat hasn't taken suppression medication or hasn't been marked, their pheromones keep producing continuously. Even alpha pheromones can't overpower them." My body's reactions were growing stronger. I could even feel a part inside me slowly opening up. The glands hurt so much. "I really want to be marked." I held on to the last bit of hope and asked, "Do you have suppression medication?" Benjamin replied quickly, "No." He pulled his hand back from behind my waist and opened it, showing damp traces on his palm. "Even if we did have some, it wouldn't help now. Too much time has passed. There's no solution except for an alpha's temporary or permanent mark." Just then, the elevator, which had been still, suddenly began moving downward. Someone downstairs pressed the elevator. My voice was trembling and my mind was in a complete mess. What should I do? "How about you go find an alpha for me right now?" Suddenly, Benjamin beside me leaned over. His eyes were bloodshot as he said, Samuel, would you rather find those wild alphas than consider me? Benjamin's words were like a thunderbolt out of the blue. I opened my mouth, but couldn't say a word. After a long while, I barely managed to utter a few words. Don't you like Sophia? What will happen to her if you mark me? Benjamin was so annoyed that he laughed. Who told you I like Sophia? You accepted her water and said you like the relationship between alphas and omegas. Don't you just like her? I felt so wronged that tears welled up in my eyes and my voice choked with sobs. Benjamin paused for a moment, then leaned down to gently wipe the tears from my face. He pulled me close in front of him, my back resting against his chest, in a way that clearly showed he claimed me completely. His warm breath brushed against my ear. Baby, I'm sorry I didn't explain myself sooner. I felt the change beneath me, and for a brief moment, my body went still. Benjamin lightly kissed my cheek. I'm also an adult alpha, by the way, and your scent is really pleasing. The light touches gradually moved toward my neck, finally settling just above the sensitive spot. It was already moist and soft, waiting for the alpha to claim it. Benjamin's every breath made me tremble uncontrollably. This was a perfect match. Benjamin's voice was rough, like sandpaper. Baby, can I mark you? Please. The elevator was about to reach the first floor. I gave a barely noticeable nod. In an instant, the alpha's teeth pierced through the sensitive spot. A flood of pheromones poured into my body. My pupils were scattered for a moment. At the same time, the elevator reached the first floor. At the moment the elevator doors opened, the rich, protective scent of a top-tier alpha, deep sandalwood, overpowered the sweet fragrance of an omega's night-blooming jasmine. Benjamin, with his mouth still gently resting on the gland, lifted his eyes toward the person standing at the elevator entrance, his expression fierce and intense. On the third day back at school, Benjamin had a scheduled basketball game. I stood by the side of the court, holding an ice-cold bottle of mineral water. Benjamin insisted I bring him a drink. Otherwise, he'd spend the whole night pressing his lips to my gland. Ever since that accidental marking, he seemed hooked, always wanting to press his mouth against my gland whenever he could. It was like watching a dog in action. Last night, I asked him, "Aren't you supposed to stop doing these strange things?" He didn't even look up, continuing his actions while softly murmuring, "Woof." So he already made up his mind not to act like a human back when he made that promise. The basketball game was coming to an end, and Benjamin's team had scored nearly twice as many points as their opponents. The bottle of water in my hand felt quite cold, so I rubbed my hands, which were turning red from the chill. Anyone who's watched Benjamin play basketball knows that no matter how hot it gets, he only drinks room temperature water. He never touches icy cold drinks, and it's especially not the kind of weather to be drinking something frozen. Considering it's almost freezing outside right now, this bottle of icy water in my hand was the price I paid for Benjamin getting carried away last night. He did go a bit too hard, but luckily it's winter and I'm wearing a high-neck sweater. No one can see anything. After the game, the sweat on Benjamin's body trickled down his waistline, and a group of omegas around him began to scream. I have to say, this guy has quite a bit going for him, but compared to me, he's still a little lacking. Benjamin wiped the sweat off and stood still in place. Benjamin didn't go for a drink after this game. Indeed, it seems like he's waiting for someone. I understood that it was time for me to take the stage and perform. I put on the black ski mask I'd prepared long ago, wore clothes I hadn't worn in years, and walked straight towards Benjamin. I guarantee that even my own mother wouldn't recognize me in this outfit. On the way, my eyes met Benjamin's. He gave me a gentle smile, and his upward slanting phoenix eyes looked extremely affectionate. My heart skipped a beat instantly. All the whispers around me reached my ears. Benjamin didn't care. He calmly took the water from my hand and picked up my hand to examine it carefully. Then he said in a voice only audible to the two of us, "Don't buy iced drinks next time. I'll feel sorry if your hands get frozen red." That night, the school forum was full of posts about the mysterious guy. Can anyone find out who this mysterious guy is? Which Omega has won Benjamin's heart and managed to get away unscathed even though it's taboo to give cold water? With this height, can't be an Omega. It must be an Alpha. Guys, sorry. I have to admit that I'm actually the mysterious guy. I'll take Benjamin away and enjoy his company first. Confirmed. The guy above has delusions. I think the figure looks a bit like Kai from the School of Physical Education. Then, netizens proposed many people with similar figures, but after comparison, they were all ruled out one by one. A few seconds before the forum crashed due to excessive traffic, 2 comments popped up. Am I the only one who thinks it looks a bit like Samuel? Are you crazy? How can you say that? They're like enemies. Do you mean to say that Samuel is actually an Omega and Benjamin is always near Samuel's glands in the dorm? Baby, sorry. I'm late. They had agreed to have dinner together at 8. But Benjamin didn't show up until 8:30. Didn't you wait too long? Did you? I shook my head. Benjamin has been very busy lately. He's acting mysteriously and always keeps things from me. These days, my phone has been pushing messages to me like, 5 signs that an alpha is having an affair. If your boyfriend suddenly becomes very busy, he's having an affair. And 3 signs that an alpha doesn't love you. Remember to like and save this post. Thinking about that, I stabbed the steak on my plate with a bit of frustration. Benjamin stood up then. I'm going to the restroom. After he left, the phone left on the table suddenly lit up the screen. Afraid of missing any important calls, I leaned over and took a look. It was a WeChat message. Baby, the person sending the message is Sophia. I was momentarily stunned. The screen quickly dimmed, and Benjamin just happened to return from the bathroom. He gently brushed his fingers across my frowning brow. You don't seem in a good mood today. I'm sorry, baby. Just wait for me until I get through this busy period. I opened my mouth slightly, but the words I wanted to say got caught in my throat, and instead I asked something else. Are you taking your elective exam in the afternoon on the last day of finals week? Our major finishes the exams on the morning of the last day of the final week, while he has an elective exam that afternoon. Right, baby? Just wait for me after the exam. I'll meet you once I'm done, and we'll go back together. Okay. On the afternoon of the last day of the final week, I sat in the dormitory waiting for Benjamin to finish his exam. Roman sent me a message. Brother, have you checked the school forum? Benjamin really isn't someone decent. He knew how you feel about Sophia, yet he still did something like this on purpose. I quickly clicked into the forum. As soon as I logged in, I saw the post glowing red on the homepage. Benjamin and Sophia really are together, aren't they? They were on a date outside the Omega dorm for half an hour. So cute. The post included a short video. The sky was already dark, but it was still very clear that the 2 people standing outside the Omega dorm were Benjamin and Sophia. The post said, this video was recorded around p.m. on January 10th. Benjamin and Sophia were together downstairs for a full 30 minutes. Even though the distance was too far to hear what they were saying, that doesn't matter, just enjoy the cuteens. The comments below had already blown up. Wait, is Benjamin really dating Sophia? Isn't that obvious? Have you ever seen pay accept water from anyone else besides that mysterious guy before? Benjamin knew Samuel liked Sophia, didn't he? They even ended up in the hospital over this before. Poor Samuel. This is really tough on him. January 10th was the day Benjamin was late for din. My hands were shaking badly, thinking back on what Benjamin had said before. That he didn't like Sophia. Made me feel completely betrayed. He clearly likes Sophia. So why did he lie to me? There is still an hour and a half left until Benjamin finishes his exam. I struggled to control my trembling hands and opened the train ticket app. The nearest train will depart in 30 minutes. After the interface loaded for a while, it prompted, rescheduling successful. I grabbed my luggage and headed straight for the station without looking back. Along the way, I blocked all of Benjamin's contact information. The train began to move, and the scenery outside rushed past quickly. It was over, but it seems that we never really started. I pushed open the door of my house. and my mother was still cutting vegetables in the kitchen. "Hey, Samuel, you said you'd be back in a few hours, didn't you?" The afternoon plans got canceled, so I rescheduled and came back early. I took the knife from my mom, who was chopping vegetables. "Let me help with that," I said. During dinner, my eyes kept drifting to my phone unthinkingly, but the screen of my phone never lit up. My mom gave me a mischievous look and asked, "Going out with someone? Which alpha is it?" I had already called to tell her about my transformation into an omega before. I kept my head down while eating, mumbled vaguely, "Not dating anyone. Was salt water used in the rice? It tastes oddly salty." Just as I was eating, someone knocked on the front door. I opened the door and my eyes widened in shock instantly. Benjamin was standing outside, his hair messy and looking exhausted. My family moved away after the second year of middle school. "Benjamin hasn't been here since. How did he find me? How did you even track me down?" Mom came to the door too, and paused when she saw Benjamin. "Benjamin? Have you eaten yet? Want to join us for dinner?" Benjamin didn't refuse. "Sure, thank you, Auntie." Having this meal was extremely torturous, like having a blade hanging over one's neck without falling. What does Benjamin want from me this time? He clearly likes Sophia, so why does he keep pestering me? The atmosphere when we were having dinner was really strange. After the meal, Mom said, "Samuel, go and see Benjamin off." On the way, neither Benjamin nor I spoke until we reached the downstairs of his community. I used to have a home here too. Suddenly, Benjamin hugged me and buried his head in the crook of my neck. "I thought I'd never find you again. If I've done something wrong, just tell me. I'll change. Please don't leave me again, okay?" I opened my mouth, but only let out a dull sound. Gradually, I felt something wet in the crook of my neck. My voice also trembled with sobs. "Aren't you with Sophia? Why do you keep pestering me?" Benjamin looked up, his eyes moist. "Didn't I tell you that I don't like her? Over all these years since childhood, when have I ever lied to you?" "Yes, indeed. We've known each other for over 20 years, and Benjamin never seems to have lied to me. Then you were hanging out with Sophia at the Omega dorm for half an hour that day, and even showed up late for our dinner, and you even took a drink from Sophia back then. She even sent you a message on WeChat, calling you sweetheart." Benjamin pressed his lips together, then pulled out his phone and showed me the chat history he had with Sophia. "Sophia, baby," how affectionate she sounded. "Someone who's been longing for this must be thrilled to finally have you. Benjamin, if you're unwell, get it treated. Sophia, Samuel has had terrible luck meeting you. Now he'll have to face your gloomy expression every single day. Thinking about how sweet Samuel is being tied to someone like you makes me truly sad. Benjamin, don't even think about it. He belongs with me only." Wait, so when Sophia sent the baby message, she was actually calling Benjamin that? Benjamin shut his phone and said, "Also, Sophia is my cousin. What kind of situation is this? Why hasn't anyone told me about such an important connection before?" I suddenly felt a bit unsure. "Then what did you talk about with her that day? You two were chatting for half an hour." "Ah, I meant to tell you later." Benjamin sighed, then took my hand and said, "Come on, follow me." We stepped up the final staircase and stopped in front of a door. I know this door well. I lived here for years, during which I experienced my happiest time. Until later, my father gambled and mortgaged the house, and my mother divorced my father. I had a really tough time during that period. After that, my mom took me to a different neighborhood. Next to the house in front of me is Benjamin's home. When we were kids, we would go to each other's houses to play, but every time we met, we would fight. We wouldn't stop until one of us was in tears. I was always the one who ended up crying after our fights. Later, I heard that this house had been resold several times. From childhood on, the one dream I've always wished for is to be able to buy this place back. Now, here I stand in front of the door again. Faint traces of stickers I once put up as a kid still visible on it. They've turned yellow over time, Long-buried memories from the past began to rise one by one, like scenes in a passing parade. Benjamin took out the key and opened the door. The layout inside was exactly the same as it had been back then. Even some small habits in how things were arranged remained unchanged. In particular, I found my old drawings and diary entries I'd written when I was younger, tucked away in the bookshelf. Everything inside felt like a piece of childhood I had long thought was lost forever. I looked at Benjamin in shock. He said, "I was planning to tell you later. I reached out to Sophia because of this. She used to visit your house when she was a kid and took some photos. It's been so long that we had to search for quite a while before finding the right one." I understood. When Mom divorced, she left with nothing, and we didn't take anything from the house. It was Benjamin who kept these things and bought this house back after many years. I suddenly felt a chill in my hand, and when I opened it, a key was quietly resting in my palm. The room was dark, but soft moonlight gently fell on Benjamin, as if he were wrapped in a delicate layer of silver glow. "Samuel, I've liked you for a long time. Samuel, welcome home."